are learning the Sefer Pituchei Chotam. We are back in the HAFTR Media Lab with our producer, Zach Newmark. It is Parshas Chayay Sarah. And wow, do we have a Torah this Shabbos, this week for you, from Rabbi Yaakov. And he gives us an insight in the mind of Mekubalim, who are constantly looking for ways to find the Sheimos of Hashem in the Torah, in the Maisa Avos. There's a very long, the Parashat Chayay Sarah is not so long, but there's a lot of repetition. We have the story of Eliezer looking for a shidduch for Yitzchak Avinu, and he's going to find Rivka. And the Torah says the story and then repeats the story. So, like to Rabbi Yaakov, he says this is like an open field. He calls it there's like a wide open field to be able to find the different seidos that are hidden in these parshas. So let's take a look at one of them. Vayikach ha'eved asara gemalim. So Eved Avram Eliezer takes 10 camels from the camels of his master. Vayelech, and he goes. V'chol tuv adonav b'yadei, all of the wonderful things that his master had were in his hand. Vayakim, he got up, Vayelech, and he went El Aram Naraim El Ir Nachar. So Yaakov asked two questions. First of all, we know that Avram was fabulously wealthy. So what's Eliezer taking 10 camels? That's it. 10 camels? And you call that Kol Tuv Adonav? Everything? You got 10 camels and you got everything? What's up with that? Second of all, what's the double Vayelech? It says that he took the 10 camels and he went, and he took V'chol Tuv and he got up and he went. Why the repetition on the Vayelech? So first we have to learn a little bit about the Sheimos Hakedoshim, and then we'll see a remez in these psukim to the Sheimos. And it wasn't just that Eliezer was going to find a shidduch. What he was taking with him was Seidos HaTorah, the Sheimos Hakedoshim. That was fueling, that was energizing his trip to be able to find the right spouse for Yitzchak. Here we go. They're Daled Miluye Shem Havaya. So first of all, let's talk about the Shem Havaya. Shem Havaya is Yud Kei Vav Kei. Shem Havaya, the gematria of Yud Kei Vav Kei is 26. Now, there are different ways to spell out. That's called a Mili. Mili means what fills in the letters. So for instance, the letter Yud is spelled Yud Vav Daled. So the Mili of Yud is Vav Daled. Okay? You can have the Shem, Hey. Well, Hey could be spelled in 3 different ways. It could be spelled Hey Yud, Hey, and Hey Aleph. You got another. Then the Vav can also be spelled Vav Yud Vav, and Vav Aleph Vav. So another that's going to affect the Mili. And then the final Hey of Hashem. So there are 4 ways the Shem Hashem can be written. So if you take a look at the Shem, it's called the Shem Ayin Beis, the Shem that equals 72. That means if I add up the Milui of the Shem Hashem, when I spell it with Yuds, I'll end up with 72. That's a Shem called Shem Ayin Beis. If you look at the second column from the right, it's called, on the bottom it says Sag. That is the Shem, the Milui of Sag. That's if you're going to spell Yud Vav Dalet, Hey Yud. Vav is Vav Aleph Vav, and then again Hey Yud, you're left with 63. Okay, so that's called the Milui of the Shem Sag, the Shem Havaya, the Shem Sag. Now that equals 63. If I were to take the gematria of the Milui of the Shem Sag, so that's 63, and I add the letters to it, how many letters were in that Milui? So Yud Vav Daled, Hey Yud, they are actually going to have 10 Isis. That brings me to a total of 73. The gematria of Gomal is 73. It sounds funny, but this is crazy. Right? All of a sudden you look at this pasuk a little differently. He's taking Gemalim, like he has Chamayim, he's got lots of animals. Why Gemalim? Gomal is a reference to the Shem Sag. Now he took 10 of those. 10 Gemalim give me 730. Okay. What's the connection of 730? Yitzchak b'mili. That means if I take the name Yitzchak and I spell it out the way I did the Shem Havaya, Yud Vav Daled, Tzadik Daled Yud, Ches Yud Sav, Kuv Vav Endefei, that'll give me 728 plus 2 for 2 kailim gives me 730. So I see that when Eliezer is going to take these Gemalim, first of all, he's including HaKadosh Baruch Hu on his journey by taking Gemalim, and he's including Yitzchak on his journey. Let's go a little bit further. In addition, we're going to find another remez in these 10 Gemalim. Yitzchak b'milui, we already said, is 730. Yitzchak itself equals 208. 208 is 8 times the Shem Havaya. 26 times 8 is 208. If you take the middle letters of the milui of Yitzchak, so that's going to be a Vav, Daled, Yud, and Vav, will give me 26. That's another Shem Havaya. If you take the milui of the Shem Rivka, and you take the middle letters of Rivka's name, you're going to get Yud, Yud, Vav. Again, 26. So in these 10 Gemalim, I have another remez to 10 Shemas of Havaya. Whoa. Let's move a little bit on. Avram Avinu. Avram is Gematria 248. If you take the milui of Avram, and you spell it out, as you see here, Aleph, Lamed, Fei, Beis, Yud, Sav, V'chulei. And I take the milui of the Shem Havaya, that means I leave out the 248 of Avram's name itself. And I just take the letters that are filling up Avram's name, that brings me to 871. Okay. What's the significance of 871? Well, the Shem Ayin Beis, which is another one of those miles of Hashem, filling it with Yuds, gives me 72. Times 10 for the 10 Gemalim, give me 720. The Shem Yud Hey is 15. Times 10 is 150. 720 and 150 gives me 870, plus 1 for the Kail is 871. So there's another remez in these 10 Gemalim. Now, let's look back at this pasuk we began with. Vayikach ha'eved asar Gemalim. Now, all of a sudden, you look at this pasuk, you're like, whoa. He wasn't just taking 10 camels, and specifically 10 camels. He was taking a remez to the Shem Havaya of 63, the Shem Sag. And when he's taking V'chol Tuv Adoinav, Kol HaToiv equals 72, a remez to the Shem Ayin Beis. V'chol Tuv, the Rashi Tevis of Vav and Ta and Tes, give me 15, a remez to the Shem Yud Hey. So now I see, what is Eliezer really taking with him? He's taking with him Yitzchak in the Asar Gemalim. He's taking him with him the Shem Havaya times 10 in the Asar Gemalim. He's taking the Shem Sag times 10. He's taking the Shem Ayin Beis with him times 10. And that's why it's Vayelach and then there's Vayelach. You can go on your journey, but you can really go, Vayakam, he can stand up with that energy of these Shemas Havaya, and then he can be Vayelach. So I don't know how, practical this is going to be for any of us listening, but to understand the depth of every word of the Torah, what's hidden there is beyond. Let's look up as a Pasuk Chumash a little bit differently. Let's have a great Shabbos.